Thank you for joining the First Unitarian Universalist Church of Houston for our weekly online ministers forum. I'm the Reverend D. Scott Cooper, Assistant Minister of Congregational Life, filling in for Dr. Bosson. These programs are conversations with community organizers, artists, scholars, religious leaders, and others about how we can collectively address the present crises. Their purpose is to offer members of our community and all who wish to join us online science-based resources. Today, I'm joined by Gayle Klaybor, Co-Tanto, meaning head of practice, at the Houston Zen Center in the historic Heights section of Houston. Gayle has had an active spiritual and meditation practice for many years and found the Houston Zen Center in 2007. She not only teaches classes and sits on the board, she organized a group dedicated to Ikebana Flower arranging and an initiative called Sangha Care, which provides contact, meals, and transportation for Sangha members facing health challenges. The purpose of Houston Zen Center is to express, make accessible, and embody the wisdom and compassion of the Buddha, and exists to provide an environment that supports spiritual practice based on the living tradition of Zen Buddhism. We'll talk about the center and how things have changed since the pandemic. For those of you who are with us on the Ministers Forum for the first time, let me say a few words about Unitarian Universalism. We are a religious tradition that celebrates the possibility of goodness within each human heart, and the transformative power of love and the clarifying force of reason. We believe that we need not think alike to love alike. And we hope that you find these forums a source of connection, hope, and clarity. So Gayle, thank you so much for joining us.
It's wonderful to have any collaboration with First Unitarian Church. I'm really happy to be here.
Well, great. We're excited that you were able to do this. So I understand there's a big range of activities that folks can engage in at the center, from just learning meditation to really the in-depth study of Buddhism. So let's begin by getting an overview of what actually happens at the Zen Center and what your role at the center is.
Well, thank you. We have so many activities at the Zen Center. We consider ourselves a pretty vibrant community, or as we say in Buddhism, Sangha. We have classes on a range of topics for people who are interested in just learning meditation, for peacefulness or concentration, to people who are interested in the philosophy of Buddhist ideas, and also a large community devoted to studying Buddhism in an in-depth way. We offer also meditation Monday through Thursday, twice a day, morning and evening, Saturday morning, and then on Sunday we have a large program involving our whole community in which we have a service, meditation, work practice, which is important in Zen practice, a Dharma talk or teaching, and a lot of socialization when we're not having COVID restrictions. And then again, meditation in the evening. We also have intensive retreats. We have one-day retreats, and after you've done one of those, you're welcome to attend with us our longer retreats, which are usually 5 days at a time, where we intensely meditate, practice together, have meals together, and appreciate our own practices.
Oh, wow, there is a lot going on there. Yeah. I think you said work practice. Was that one of the phrases you used?
Yeah, work practice is important in Zen. So the idea of work practice is to take what you get on the cushion while you're meditating into your life. So for example, if you're sweeping with total mindfulness, or you're cleaning the toilet, you're cleaning with mindfulness to the task. All of this built on intensifying your relationship to everything in the world and connecting you with a mindful state in whatever activities you do.
I hadn't heard that phrase before, but I've certainly heard of being able to do things with intention. And if you're pouring tea, you are only thinking about that, or I've heard different anecdotes that way. So I love that phrase.
Yeah, well, quarantining has been an excellent opportunity for people to practice lots of things that we learn in Zen.
I bet it has been.
Hmm.
Well, some people may not realize this is a really special resource we have here in Houston. It's not like every city has a Zen Center. I know one of the most beloved former ministers of First UU Houston, Bob Shively, was instrumental in starting the center and had even met at the church in the very beginning. So fill us in on the history of the center and how it came to be in Houston and in the building where you are now.
Well, thanks for that. Well, Bob Shively, who was an incredibly beloved minister at the Unitarian Church, as I understand it, went to Plum Village in the late 80s and did a whole retreat with Thich Nhat Hanh. And he wanted to bring that back to Houston. So he connected with one of our current members, Louise Dreyfus, who had been to a Vipassana retreat, and said, let's start a meditation sitting group. And we have the church and the space, and it would be a good place to do it. So people met every Sunday from 1988 till almost 2000, so 15 years. And at that point, it was called the Houston Zen Community. And there was an initiative to deepen that practice. So we met with people in San Francisco at the San Francisco Zen Center and collaborated with them and found our teacher, who's now our abbot, Gayle Godwin, and she moved to Houston in 2003, at which point we started a small center on Heights Avenue in a small bungalow. And then in 2007, that place had been outgrown, and we moved to our current location, which is a beautiful house at 1605 Heights. And we've been there ever since. And in fact, continuing to discuss expansion as we continue to grow. So we have a great debt to Reverend Shively, who was very much a spiritual founder of our community.
Well, I've read some of his sermons where he talks about going to Plum Village and some of his experiences there, and they're wonderful to read. And like I said, I've never heard anything but just glowing things about him. So I'm so glad he was able to do that.
Yeah, in Zen we have this concept called bodhisattvas, and Kuan Yin is a bodhisattva, and we have symbols of those everywhere. And you don't have to be a Buddhist to be a bodhisattva. You just have to be a great spirit who's trying to heal the world. And I think all the people that knew him thought he was a bodhisattva.
Well, it certainly sounds like it. I love that you have that concept. Mm-hmm. You were talking about learning to meditate. It seems to me that people these days have a really hard time not doing something every single minute. Even in the line at the grocery store, they're checking their phone, or while waiting at a red light, they pull out their phone. But conversely to that, I remember my grandparents just sitting on the front porch of their house and just kind of in the evening just relaxing and chilling out. They certainly wouldn't have called it meditating, but it may have been akin to that. A lot of people may wonder why they should even consider meditating. What would you say to them?
Well, I would say that it's okay to meditate and it's okay not to. But if you're interested in what meditation has to afford you, there's a variety of benefits. Scientists now are studying meditation in many, many ways. The effect on the brain, the effect on longevity, the effect on the immune system, other systems in our body, our heart, how organs work, how long our minds people who meditate seem to experience less dementia than people that don't. And there are a variety of ways to experience meditation. It might just be to calm your mind. It might just be to take a break from the busyness of every day. And for those of us who meditate more seriously, besides the effect of increasing concentration, we're also looking at what are the processes of our mind and to live fully in every moment. So the idea of our Zen meditation is to sit in stillness and just observe exactly what's happening. what's happening with our minds, what's happening with our bodies, just being in that very full moment of being a human being alive. And that's a really important process. And it can take you lots of different places. I know sitting in meditation and not particularly trying to think of anything, all of a sudden a solution to a problem that I have comes forward, or an awareness or a memory that becomes really important in what's happening in my life. And also, in Buddhism, we talk about this quality that you mentioned, Reverend Cooper, about this goodness within us. And in Buddhism, we call that Buddha nature, that there's a Buddha in each of us, and we each have this goodness within us. And one of the effects of meditation is hopefully to get in touch with that goodness and then to let it spread out into the world. So meditation has lots of benefits and lots of ways that it manifests.
That's fascinating. I love the idea of getting in touch with that goodness inside of each one of us.
That's something we share with a lot of religions too, I think. Huh?
Oh, I was about to say, a lot of religions grasp onto that idea, but we are here in Texas, which is overwhelmingly Christian, and I know even as a Unitarian Universalist, people are kind of suspicious of us and religions that aren't really in the mainstream. So even though these, are ideas that transfer over to many religions, are people kind of less than understanding of some of the things you do there, or kind of wondering what you're up to?
I would say yes and no. I mean,
Okay.
There is a self-selection process, people searching for something and willing to look for something outside of their own box, of their own lives, searching for something that's missing or a way out of their suffering. Those are two really common reasons that people come to meditation or Zen Buddhism. But I think that what we experience mostly is that people will express that their family members think it's awfully strange and sometimes weird. But some of our practices look a little unusual just in their form and the concentration on form. But you have to understand that these practices have been developed over hundreds and even thousands of years to help us reach the maximum benefit of our practices. So even though they might look strange, we're always welcome to explain what they're really about and what the meaning of everything is.
Are there like introductory courses where you go through and explain some of these things to people?
We actually have those. When we don't have COVID, we have a wonderful class called Introduction to Meditation, which is taught by our abbot, Galen Roshi, and her assistant, Reverend Royce Johnson. And that's either a 3, a 5, or a 6-week course in teaching meditation and some Buddhist concepts. And it's a great, great way to learn how to meditate, starting with 5 minutes a day, and by the end of the class, you worked up to 30 minutes a day. And also to understand basic principles about how to sit, how to use your mind and your body, and as I said, some of the basic ideas behind our Buddhist practice.
Well, I was going to ask, so ideas about the Buddhist practice. So you said that's another thing you do there is go to the in-depth study of Buddhism. So describe a little bit of what that looks like.
Well, the truth is, in Zen Buddhism, meditation is really fundamental to the process. So in-depth practice means meditating regularly and to participate in some of these more intense experiences so that your mind really has time to quiet down. So if you're meditating all day for 5 days, well, a big chunk of each day, you're really having time for your mind to settle down and disconnect from all the nervousness, all the what we call monkey mind that occurs during our regular lives. And also there are lots of classes based on studying Buddhist sutras, or what you might call scriptures, to understand some of the other deeper concepts of Buddhism, like looking at the nature of reality, totally our interconnectedness, the sense that we have a boundless connection with everything that exists. So those kind of concepts, to realize them experientially, which is also a big part of Zen, takes a lot of time and practice to get into your body and to really, your body to allow itself to experience those things. So that's what I mean by a more in-depth practice.
That's fascinating. I love that. You mentioned the pandemic and not being able to do some things. So tell us how it's had an impact on the Zen Center and how you're able to continue which activities that you're doing right now.
Well, I think it's been really important that we've decided to maintain as much connection as is possible. The Zen Center itself has taken really strong precautions to protect people. Health is the number one thing. And in Buddhism, when you practice for a long time, many of us have taken a vow to save all beings and to be of service to everyone. And that involves protecting everyone as well. So we have everything on Zoom. Only the residents, there are 3 residents and our abbot, conduct most of the services. And as I mentioned, all of the Zazen, the sitting meditation, still goes on, and you can link into it anytime you like on Zoom. And our Sunday program is also on Zoom. And we've even done 5-day retreats totally on Zoom. And when we've had a few ceremonies, and when we've had those, a few people are on site, but primarily people can watch on Zoom. And that's been really, really important as a way that we've stayed connected. We often break out into discussion groups so that people can say hello to each other, talk about what's on their minds. And we've conducted several classes at the Zen Center, totally on Zoom. And they've been quite successful, given that we're all making compromises in this time. And we miss, as everyone does, seeing each other in person. But this is a good substitution for us to stay connected.
It is. We, of course, have done a similar thing and transferred a bunch of our workshops and discussion groups and all those kind of things onto Zoom, exactly as you said, and then our worship services are on YouTube. So yeah, we like you want to be very, very conscious of the safety of people until a later time when we're more sure that it's good to get together. So I'm really glad that I'm glad so many people responded well to doing the things on Zoom. It sounds like they took right to it.
I think that's true, and people are doing their best efforts, which I really appreciate, and have been quite grateful about all the attempts to keep us connected, as I'm sure they have at the Unitarian Church as well.
Definitely, that's been one of the big difficulties of the pandemic is continuing to stay connected and feel connected. When we can't be there together in person, it's made it difficult. Well, speaking of connections, the center has a program called Sangha Buddies to help keep people connected with one another. And you developed an initiative called Sangha Care, which provides contact, meals, and transportations for Sangha members facing health challenges. So if you would, tell us more about those programs.
Well, Sangha Buddies came out of our sense of disconnection when we all had to quarantine in place, in particular in the early times. So we've set up a list of people. All the members have members that they are asked to connect with, even if it's just a text saying, "Hope you're okay," because it's really important to offer people the resources, the emotional, the spiritual, the mental health resources that we have available, which is connection. I've been thinking a lot about people who live alone or who are disconnected from family, how long it's been since they've even had physical touch and sometimes emotional touch. My life is such that I get to be on Zoom a lot and see people and see family members, but other people don't have that. So it becomes really critical that we offer a lot of ways for people to be able to express their affection and connection and our interconnectedness with each other. And it's just fun because I miss people and I miss having fun with them and joking and laughing. And so that's that too. And then we have Sangha Care, which is a program we developed to make sure we take good care of our Sangha members. I know that the Unitarian Church has a real sense of community, and Sangha is a very important concept in all forms of Buddhism. So taking care of each other is really, really important. And so we wanted to offer a way to help people that are having medical challenges, but also offer people a way who want to help, a very specific way to help. You know, often when somebody is having difficulties, they say, let me know how I can help. And either they don't know exactly, or they don't want to impose, or whatever their situation is. But this is a very specific, structured program so that when you want to help, you actually can bring a meal. You actually know you can provide a ride. You actually know you can just call them up and say, how are they? And this has been really helpful to a lot of our Sangha members, just for them to know how important they really are. Because, you know, the truth is, in Buddhism, we sit a lot of time in silence, and you can feel very close to people when you're meditating, but it's not always spoken. And these are all different ways that we can really express our really deep feelings of friendship and camaraderie with each other.
Those are just amazing, amazing programs. You said Sangha means community, is that correct?
It means community, that's right.
Boy, and what a community you all have created with some fabulous programs to stay connected. Not only stay connected, but to help one another. Congratulations on doing that. I'm really impressed by the job you're doing with that. That's fabulous.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that.
Oh yeah, definitely. Well, we're running close on time, but obviously before we go, I want people to know how they can get more information about getting involved with the Zen Center. As we've been talking about, they can take classes, participate in retreats, donate, or become a member of the Zen Center. So tell us your website and ways that interested folks can become involved.
Well, our website is excellent for presenting to you the variety of programs and offerings that we have. And the website is houstonzen.org, all lowercase. And if you want to ask me specific questions or connect with somebody at the Houston Zen Center, you can contact me at Gayle@houstonzen.org or Tanto@houstonzen.org. And I'd be happy to talk with you. That's part of what I love to do.
That's great. So people who have questions about how they can donate or get involved can look at the website and even email you and ask their particular questions. That's great.
And also, if you just have questions about learning about Buddhism, or learning about, you have a practice and you have questions, I myself do that, but we have other teachers who are available to talk with you as well.
I didn't think to ask about how many people are members and take advantage of the programs you all have.
Well, our membership is about 150 or so, give or take, and we have many more people. You don't have to be a member to attend classes or any of the activities at the Zen Center. Membership is a nice way to say that you are committing to the Houston Zen Center, but it's definitely not required. Everyone's welcome, and we're happy to help you at whatever stage of the path that you're on.
That's great. That's great. We often say the same things. You don't have to be a member of our church, but we'd love for you to be a member of our church. So that's great.
I've been to the Unitarian Church several times, and I felt very welcome there. It's wonderful.
Oh, good. That's nice to hear. Thank you for telling us that.
Hope you'll visit us.
Oh, the minute you're open again, I'm going to be there. You can count on it.
That's great.
Yeah, you talked about your building. Just the picture on the website makes it. I mean, it's clearly a fabulous place, a beautiful building. I can't wait to see the inside as well.
Well, you know, it was originally built by one of the developers of the Heights. And after, it's a wonderful story because he left, and after that, apartment buildings and condos were built on either side, and many, many lifetimes of that building. And it ended up a group home for people with disabilities. And then two young attorneys, a couple, bought it and renovated it for their home, and then decided to sell it. And we got really interested. And my story is that I got really interested in studying Zen and started to go to the house down the street, and I had just moved to the Heights. And then they said they were moving because they needed a bigger space, and I said, gosh. And then I found out that the Zen Center is even closer to my house. So I said, that had to be some good karma for me.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, I can't wait to get there and take advantage of some of the stuff going on there. It sounds wonderful. Thank you so much for spending this time with us today. I really appreciate it.
It has so totally been my pleasure. Thank you so much for asking me and having us represented on your series.
Oh, of course, of course. If you found this video to be helpful, please consider joining us for our weekly worship service. It's posted online each Sunday at 10:30 a.m. and features music and prayers in addition to a sermon. Dr. Bosson will be preaching again this week. Thank you to our staff for making the video possible. It was produced by Christian Holmes. Alma Viscara assisted with the editing. We will see you all online soon and in person as soon as it is possible for us to gather again. And please remember that no matter how isolated you feel, we are all in this together.